Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of PST. I'm your host, Peyman Askari. This is episode 45, and we are airing on Tuesday, April 7th. Almost made it through. I'm joined by my co-host, Kris Erikson. How's it going, Kris?
It's going well, man. I'm catching up. I expected 5 minutes, but no more raindrops. Thank you, Alice, for the intro. How you doing, man?
Yeah. I get you weren't here last time, huh?
No, I wasn't. Not for the first one. I don't think. I might have been. I could be lost in a loop though too. So good to be here though. I look forward to today.
We got the shorter intro and what else? JP is he won't be able to join us. He's stuck in gridlock, I suppose.
Yeah, apparently. But it's good. He's filled in. You know, we make it when we can. Life sometimes happens, and we deal with it as we go. So we got it.
So, Kris, interesting times. Let's start out in the west coast of Canada. What is going on with the what is the Cowichan Valley Regional District? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where, you know, it might be, do you have the video queued up? It might be good to start there, and then I can go over a little bit of it because I've been looking into things. And if you don't have the video queued, that's all good. But it's one of those things where people underestimate the amount of power that municipal governments have. And I think that, you know, we can get into, you know, installations, all these little incremental things that happen that slowly erode rights, slowly erode people's abilities to live without government interference. And I think that's why when I saw the Cowichan Valley in regards to some of the changes they're looking to make in regards to basically agriculture, right? They're clamping down on a lot of things here. So what I'm going to do, just for the audience, is I'm going to read the major concerns. And what I'm hoping, it's kind of like a public service announcement, right? This is happening in Cowichan Valley. So what I'm hoping is that everyone will take a look. Is this happening in your community? Has it already happened in your community? And is there a way for, you know, awareness? The good part about, you know, in the video we'll cover it. The good part about it is that the community showed that they have power. A lot of the stuff was being done in regards to restricting rights, and I'll read them in a second. But the positive is they were able to stall the vote. There's going to be more public consultation. So it does show that the people have the power. They just have to be aware and organize when that does occur. So this is one of them. If you have the video from, what's his name? It's further up.
No, I got the video. Let me, I'll show it. StreamYard is really ass backward. You have to share, if you want audio on the video, you got to share a Chrome tab.
Okay.
So I'm clicking around. All right, here we go. Let's play this video.
Beautiful.
Stress in this community. Our children cannot afford to live here.
More than 100 people are at the Cowichan Valley Regional District headquarters calling for change.
I think it's a money grab, because if you change the reasoning, you collect more taxes. Power overreach.
They're upset with the proposed comprehensive zoning bylaw, a 252-page document that outlines how people can use their property. Its rules range from fence sizes to parking requirements to RV usage and even how many chickens you can have on your property.
The bylaw that would affect me would be the chickens. I also raise chicks and chickens to sell. So that would not be allowed because you can only have 6 hens, no rooster.
Yesterday, more than 100 people also converged on the headquarters to let the regional district know they won't accept this bylaw as it stands.
I can't see the purpose of this. It doesn't improve anybody's lives. And I'm so disappointed in what is going on.
I don't see a lot of logic. And I mean, of course, you need rules and, you know, that sort of thing, of course. But at what human cost, I guess.
Passing a bylaw to limit people on what they can do in their backyards is a real risk to BC food security, especially on Vancouver Island.
Some suggesting the current board should hold off on this bill until the fall.
I really think we should be demanding that they postpone any vote on such a ridiculous bill until after the election.
Here.
Today there was a meeting inside that only several dozen residents could attend due to space constraints to give their feedback during a 30-minute window. On Monday, the Regional District's board chair, Kate Segal, said the proposed bylaw is at a very preliminary stage.
We want to be a voice of our community, to take into consideration the expertise of staff and add the voice of community to find the right zoning bylaw.
I really hate this woman. I don't know anything about her, but just by her voice.
That build sustainable, vibrant community.
Today, regional directors voted to hold off on any vote on the bylaw until all the planned public consultation sessions are finished, and to hold a public hearing when the time is appropriate.
All right, that's it.
Yeah, and it's like one of those things where when the public, the city council is like a stepping stone, right? City council, you become mayor or councilor, then you become MLA, MP. It's all of the same system, right? And for them to be doing this, right? They always try and slip it by without people knowing. But when they know, right, the people have power. They don't think they do, but they do. And some people will say that, they'll be supporters for this. But that lady, again, too, it's like she's like a symptom, right? They all seem to be bred in the same way. That it's, let's try and slip it by the people. Let's try and see how much they will tolerate as a people. And the Cowichan Valley Regional District is only one. Like I looked up earlier, and there is already 7 regional districts that have imposed these. North Okanagan is one of them. You got 4 on the go. And so what I'm hoping today will be to do to draw attention to this, so that people in their local community, remember, you've heard this saying before, all politics is local. And if you let them get away with this locally, right, you can argue, like I'm going to read like the major concerns here, just for the audience so they understand what they're actually trying to do. But I see nothing but 15-minute city control. I see rural gulags, which is mentioned. Sure, yeah, bring it up. And I will read. This is actually from Grok, which kind of gives a bit more comprehensive. What I'll do after the podcast is I will put the flyer underneath, so it gives people more background on what's actually happening. But that does give you an idea. So I'll read right now. So the main concerns, the bylaw is a 4710 comprehensive zoning bylaw. And the guy in the report was misrepresenting. It's not a 252-page document. It's a 392-page document, which is why I didn't put it into the PST chat today, because I'm like, all I can imagine you're saying is, I'm not reading this. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm sorry this happened to you, or I'm happy for you. Right, 392 pages for this zoning bylaw. So I encourage people to look at it. I'll put it underneath the chat as well. But the major concerns are lack of meaningful consultation and no formal public hearing. Residents and farmers argue that the process skipped adequate input despite earlier agricultural meetings, with a petition and rallies demanding deferral until full consultation and clear impact explanations are provided, which they were successful in by showing up. Right, you see the size of that room, 30 minutes. Give me a break when it comes to the impacts it's going to have on people. Number 2, overly restrictive rules on small-scale agriculture and agro-tourism. Proposed bans or limits on agro-tourism accommodations. Example, only on farms in the ALR and farm retail sales outside of the agricultural land reserve, seen as undermining small farms' economic viability, food production, and diversification. Number 3, limits on everyday rural property uses. Restrictions such as a max 6 backyard chickens, no roosters, no bees for pollination, no riding lessons, no horse boarding, and other curb on home-based farm activities or equestrian facilities that residents may that will threaten their livelihoods. Erosion of property rights and perceived government overreach. And even in Grok doesn't have it right. Many view the 329-page, it's 392 pages, bylaw as heavy-handed control over private land use, fences, structures, gardens, businesses, signaling distrust in residents' ability to manage their own properties. 4, disregard for previous community feedback. Farmers and residents claim input from a 2023 onward, including OCP process, was ignored, with bylaw not reflecting locals' needs or character. And the last one, broader impacts on rural economy, community, and lifestyle. Concerns that it could regulate small farms out of existence, harm businesses, reduce food security, and turn rural areas into rural gulags while failing to protect the valley's character. So you can see, like, these are massive changes to the ways that people live. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Cowichan Valley, right? But if you look around, like these are rural areas that they need to be able to have the ability to provide for themselves. It's a way of life there. And to see that lady standing there in their pockets, well, just this smugness that's coming across, but it was enough, right? It was enough. The people have to understand that you need to show up. You have to show up. All politics is local. If you're looking for something to get involved in, and this isn't just BC, I would encourage everyone across Canada to just go into whatever AI you're using, whether it's Claude, ChatGPT, whether it's Grok, and punch in bylaw 4710, right? Is there anything going on? And look at your community and see and get involved, because this incremental stuff is just going to lead to, again, does it tie to Agenda 2030? Is it tied to SDGs or ESG? You know, to me, it kind of reeks of that, as far as taking away the people's ability to provide for themselves, taking away their natural community environments. For what reason? Right? So go ahead, Peyman. That's kind of the overview as far as how ridiculous it is. And that's why I wanted to bring it here tonight, just to be able to show people that you got to look at what's going on municipally. It's not just federal, not just provincial. It is absolutely ridiculous.
I'm trying to, not everybody knows where Cowichan is. Even I couldn't find it on a map. Okay. So for people who don't live in British Columbia, if you're on the East Coast, there's parts of this is Vancouver Island. It's an island. There's other parts that act like an island, but it's not an island. Like Seashell, you have to take a ferry to get to it. But putting that aside, this is Cowichan. So this is the shithole that is Victoria. This is the wokest of the woke.
That's British where Columbia. I work.
Well, get a real job. Vancouver and Victoria, these are the two ground zeros for the woke atomic bomb that was dropped. Cowichan, it's seemingly it's rural, as you said, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not as rural as up in Fort St. John and other parts of BC, but it is still rural in comparison to access to resources and just the way of life. Yeah.
So let me ask you some questions, because you work there. I think you're familiar with it more. What kind of people are we talking about here? Yes, they're rural, but I'm going to bring up an electoral map. I'm guessing they voted BC NDP. Well,
probably. Like, I know there's some conservatives there, but it would not surprise me if it was a voting bloc for the NDP. A lot of the island is. I don't think it's a green riding. Green is very Oak Bay, I think, is what one of the ridings for green. So I would, it's safe to assume. I can look it up right now if you want, but I would assume that it's NDP.
The reason I ask is this happened in Alberta. I forget the name of it was a hamlet, and they brought the same rules. This is 2 years ago. They said, you can't have more than this number of chickens. If you have chickens, you have to get a permit for the chicken coop, and we have to come inspect it. If you don't inspect it, and year after year, you have to have it demolished and start again. Barbed wire needs a permit, and they pushed back. Actually, they investigated and followed the money trail, or the paper trail, of where this this bill originated from. It originated from a political action committee in like Calcutta. So this came out of India.
Right.
And then they protested it and it went away. I wouldn't be surprised if now they somehow backdoored it. So so what do you think the chances are that they'll go radio silent for a few months, maybe a year, and then they'll come back and they'll sneak it in again?
Well, I think, again, like, they're going to be doing consultations, I believe, over the summer, and they're going to come back in the fall and take a look at another vote, which is why I think it's so important right now, at least for this regional district, to be able to bring light to it so that it's familiar for people, because they're not done. You're right. They usually just think, oh, the public's angry, and then the public goes back to sleep. Right. So we have to be able to continue to bring attention to this. And if any of the organizers out there, again, I don't have a lot of time, but if there's a way that I can help you in that aspect to keep shining light on what you're trying to do, you'll be helping not only your own regional district, but others that are going to be facing or have already facing these problems. But it's not going away. That that attention span thing. You saw some of the people there, like they look very mobilized. They look very passionate. So I don't think that we'll see their energy fade. But at the same time, I think they can use all the support that we can possibly provide and hopefully develop networks across the province and the country where we can shift from region to region to be able to say, hey, no, you're line stepping in a way that is very, very globalist, in my opinion. So go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just bringing up the provincial electoral map, and what I'm trying to say is the solution to their problem. Yes, it should be local. You organize local, but these bastards, these satanic death cult overlord elites, they're centralizing everything provincially. So I'm going to bring it up in a moment, but what I'm saying is they need to organize and change their MLA, and they need to think more high level provincially. Like this is a provincial assault where they've already captured Vancouver, they've captured Victoria, and they're it's like concentric cancer circles. They're like growing out and they're gobbling. It's like Swamp Thing. They're gobbling all the rural areas.
Agent Smith is multiplying in the Matrix, right? Like you got to get in there.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. You what do you think until I bring up this map?
Well, it is one of those things where I think that people are, nothing happens locally without municipal, right? And I think people highly underestimate, right? Because you can have a mayor and council. They are under the influence of lobbyists in most cases, right? You got to go along to get along. You're mayor for a little bit, then, oh, do you want to run for MLA? Right? You're MLA for a couple terms, get your pension. Hey, do you want to go and run for member of parliament? George Carlin was right. It is a big club, people. The club starts on a municipal level. It's a litmus test. Honestly, if you play ball on a municipal level, you'll play ball on a provincial level. Then you'll play ball on a federal level, right? Not everyone, right? I can confirm for a fact there are people in all levels of government that know the game. They're trying to fight against it, but they're outnumbered over and over again. So it's never a broad swath for me on that. And that goes for like every party, right? Like, again, there's people in every party that they didn't sign up for this, right? Their consciences, they still have it. Lots of them, though, you know, they sell their souls. All they care about is that check, pension, right? Spotlight, free drinks, free meals at receptions, and all this gross crap that I see all the time. No offense. Again, the food's great. But at the same time, they don't care about the people, right? That's one of the things I can say right now. It's like, it's been so refreshing working for Jordan Keeley up in Fort St. John, Peace River North, right? He's an independent. He's not bound by party rules, right? So it's been so nice to work with him because he cares about his people, right? Everything he does. Yes, he cares about the province. Absolutely. He cares about Canada. But at the end of the day, he goes in there and he's representing his people of the constituency, right? And I can only imagine what it would be like if we had like 93 Jordan Keeleys or just independents in general.
Could you imagine 93 people in the provincial parliament that get into a fist fight? There's 93 cowboy hats.
Bring it. I will karaoke that. I'll be there and just tell me the song. I'm not really good with AC/DC, but I'll work it out if that actually happens. You see it happen in other parliaments, right? They start throwing fists. But I don't think that's going to solve anything. A lot of our legislature, I'm not all the time, but it definitely feels like high school at times, right? It's just like, we have to adult this. We're in a storm, people. And so to be able to have, I'm not sure, I think we have is it 6 now with Han Chan being removed? 6 independent MLAs. Right. So that is like, stand up, speak. Well, you got Dallas Brody, you got Tara Armstrong, you got Jordan Keeley, you got Han Chan, you got Amelia Boltby, and Eleanor Sturko. So you got 6 independent MLAs right now. I mean, we've never seen that. All of them ended up in independence for numerous reasons. But at the same time, you know, again, you can because I part of my job is I have to watch question period. I wish that they would pan cameras so that you could actually see the responses of people. But towards the end of question period, I get to go up to the press gallery and watch from outside through the doors. And if there is an independent, because they only ask questions now on Thursdays, but if an independent asks a question, everyone's kind of like, what's coming, right? They don't know. So it creates this air of, You know, you can almost hear the butts clapping together, just this tenseness of what's coming, because they all want to play this game. Not all, but they want to play a game. And independents bring an air of honesty, right? The ability to not be whipped by the party. And it's so refreshing to see, even though I don't agree. Am I friends with everyone? No, right? Am I enemies with everyone? No. I'm not there to make friends or enemies, right? But it's different working for an independent. Like when I was with the speaker, it was the same thing, although he was speaker, so he didn't have questions. He didn't have all these other things going on, right? But to see Jordan, and every time Tara or Dallas stands up, you know, it's fun. It brings a level of energy into the legislature that we sorely need. Right. But it's so hard to get elected as an independent. The machine that both sides have are so well crafted, so fine tuned. But in BC right now, we have an opportunity. So I'll land it there. But there are fun days. It's never a dull moment at the legislature for sure, especially right now. Go ahead.
It's just it's a blast over there. It's a discotheque. Let's see. So I got this.
Nice.
Where is it? Cowichan Valley is this bad boy right here. So the good news is they don't have the brain dead zombies down here in Victoria. The bad news is it appears there is an urban center. Yeah. Anytime you see this much roads, you just know the people are disconnected from reality. But it gets worse. Here's the election map. They voted NDP. I was let me get this out of here. I don't want to make too much fun of them. The poor people, they are having their rights stripped from them. But I said you should put a lie detector test out there and be like, all right, who voted NDP? And then shame them. Go home. You don't have a right to protest here. You reap what you sow.
Yeah, and I think it's not even this, because again, municipals aren't like a provincial. They're not governed by the NDP. Not to say that there isn't massive influence that comes in, because I looked up who the MLA was there, and I'm like, oh no, right? Maybe a good person, but you're not going to get support from them because again, a lot of the agendas seem to be pushed by they align, right? So if what the municipalities are doing aligns with the provincial settings. If you go and knock on that door, right, if they want it, then you're not going to, this silence, right? The sound of silence will be there. But again, I encourage everyone. Do you have the MLA's name on hand? I can pull it up right now.
Oh, you mean for the Cowichan riding?
Sorry, guys, we are raw here.
Yeah,
I'll bring it up right now.
Breaking developments. Somebody has hacked my X account and they're writing comments in my place. I'm just joking. I gave access to my X account to someone.
Okay. Okay, so Cowichan MLA. One sec. And this was just brought to my attention recently, and I thank the person who brought this to my attention. So her name is Deborah Toporowski, or her native name is Quiltstunat. We'll go with, no disrespect, we'll go with Deborah Toporowski, an NDP MLA. She could be nice. She might not be aware, right? Reach out to her. Send her an email.
Just a question. Is she actually First Nations, or is she like some white chick that adopted a First Nations name?
I think, again, asking me to look at a picture and decide that dude, that's dangerous. But it would not surprise me if she was Indigenous, just based on her picture. It wouldn't surprise me. So doesn't look, I'm not saying anything more.
Don't worry, bro. Bill C-9 hasn't passed yet. You don't get life sentences for
not yet
racializing.
No, I do want to encourage everyone that's watching, if you can please share this this show, whether you're watching it on Substack, whether you're watching it here, YouTube or Rumble. It's no surprise. We are heavily shadow banned. We appreciate your support, and anything you can do to help us is again greatly appreciated. Go ahead, Peyman.
Just want to thank Clown World. Thank you for sharing this stream. Sue, Kellen Dyer, good evening, ma'am. And thank you for quote sharing the stream. Clown World asks, where's the Bergman tonight? He's stuck in traffic, so he had to cancel. Maybe he'll join in later, but we'll see. I'm going to push the questions until later. I'm just checking to see if anybody... JT, thank you for reposting the stream.
Always JT. Love it.
JT says she is 1/16th Indigenous payment. How dare you? Me culpa. My bad. You brought up something. I made it about provincial politics, but you actually pointed out that this is purely municipal. I was thinking the other day, the goal of government, our goal should be to decentralize government. So you take all of this land use planning stuff and you push it down to the municipalities. It's better, but it's not guaranteed that it's going to make everything work. And which goes back to what you said, like you have to get involved locally. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, you have to. And it's one of those things where people, they look at the machine, right? They're so disheartened. They see what happens federally. No one's ever held accountable. They just do what they want. Same thing on a provincial level, right? You know, there's much more of an impact locally. It's much harder to gerrymander and potentially, you know, rig the systems. Oftentimes, it's not even like there's like actual, you know, like rigging outside of the people that run are all chosen ahead of time, right? And so it's like whoever wins, it's like, okay, we're looking at the BC Con race right now. If a Liberal wins, right? Like we shouldn't be having those discussions. We shouldn't have to be having those discussions. It's because people are so full of apathy that they're not willing to put their hat in the ring. They're not willing to get on the ground and do it, right? And so you have those people, what was their name? Susan Elliott or something like that, with their hands. Well, we tried to get away with this, but the people showed up, so we're forced to put the vote off, right? Because again, they condition, I think, over time, people to be apathetic, right? And so it takes, unless it's on your doorstep, you're not going to get out there and get involved, right? But if you can do the research and see, oh, Cowichan Valley's doing this, what's happening in my region? So as soon as you start seeing these 392-page bills put together, you're able to mobilize so that when they do try and enact, you have an army of people of saying, no, you're not going to tell us what we can or cannot do in our backyard. We're not doing that. Right. But they will try because they think people are fools. So many people, they're all busy, right? Sports, you know, I can't wait till the weekend. I might get one day with my wife and my kids, right? They expect and design it so that people don't get involved, right? So start local, right? You people trying to save the province. Okay, Valiant, trying to save the country. Okay, what is happening in your backyard? Because they're looking at yours and saying, you cannot have more than 6 chickens and roosters. If you want to have an equestrian, you want to give horse riding lessons, you're not allowed to do that. Right? But if you're not there to say why, if you're not there to show up and say, hey, no, we want to talk to you about this, you represent us, right? Then they just get away with it. I liked it when I punched in 4710. I'm like, how many other, you know, regional districts are doing this? And to only see 7 that have implemented it and 4 that are in the processes of trying to implement it, there's a lot more to come. So if we can bring awareness to this and point people at, hey, what better way to unite? Food security, like small businesses. I mean, that's where you really can strike the heart of people and say, hey, there's a reason for us to come together. Forget everything else we don't agree on, but this is where we do and get to work. So I'll end it there.
This is kind of a part of a bigger problem with the rural-urban divide, where the countrysides, so all those people that were protesting, they're the ones that actually have chickens, that understand what a chicken is and, you know, where eggs come from. They're self-sufficient. The other people in that, when we were looking over that map, that urban center in Cowichan district, that, you know, they live in a concrete jungle, they have a completely different mindset. They're like, I don't want a rooster going off in the morning, you know, I got to get to work. And I think it's just irreconcilable. Like my advice to the younger generation is like, go to the countrysides, get a farm. When you see these, you know, brain dead yuppies moving in, just sell it at a profit and move to greener pastures.
Just keep moving. You got to keep moving.
Yeah. It's the only way to win, is the only way to stay alive is to keep running.
Exactly. Or being the ability to adapt and be fluid with it, right? Because they're coming, right? I feel bad for the younger generations, but those that are there now, we have to fight and at least try and provide the tools and awareness for other people to try and help them build locally. And that's kind of why we're kind of doing a public service today, Peyman, by bringing this up and showing what's going on. And no, Johnny, not run to the hills. We're not there yet. Sorry, it's not there, but it's true, right? We're all in this together. We just got to figure out how to be more effective and efficient with how we mobilize and stand up for our rights across the board. Go ahead.
Okay, let's quickly look at the comments. John JT says she has the voice of I don't care about substance. I only care about being perceived well among my peer group. Also have no suntan. Is he talking about that leadership race lady or who?
I don't care. Okay, wait, let me see. I don't care about substance. I don't care about being perceived well among my peer group. But he could be talking about
any woman in politics.
Anyone.
BC,
anyone.
It's not
even. No, yeah, don't gender. Careful now, Peyman. It's anyone because it's all.
Yeah, any gender identifying thing.
He, she, they, them. It's all the same in that. And when it comes to politics, it's about power and spotlight.
They're all creatures. Sue, the Hamlet. It wasn't Dixonville. It was another one. I can't remember what. Lilmo 61. Whatever happened to Maggie Hope Brown? She was exposing all these municipal bylaw changes by ICLEI, C40 cities and NGOs that were contracted to write these bylaw changes. I don't know her. Do you?
Yeah, that's interesting. She dropped off my radar on X. I'll see if I can find her.
Did you ever know who she was?
Yeah, we followed each other. Never had like direct conversations with her. Okay, yeah. Maggie Hope Braun. She has not tweeted since February 9th. Volunteer, writer, organizer, founder of KICLIE Canada, helping Canadians speak up in council and protect local decision-making from top-down global mandates. Based. So yeah, she's on X, but she hasn't posted it since February 9th.
People get exhausted because waking up your fellow man or woman or whatever gender is in between, it's not even a full-time job. It's a double full-time job. And you work your ass off and nobody really wakes up. And then you're like a demoralized de facto Cincinnatus. You just retire to your farm. But at the end of the day, you are moving society in the right direction.
And having like reasonable expectations of change. I think that's the hardest part, is because there is so much evidence and so much information that there should be accountability, but there's never any movement on any of this kind of stuff, right? That's the demoralizing part. You can see a lot of people that get up every day. So people ask me all the time, what's your mission? What's your agenda? And I've had to simplify it, right? Because of course, arrest them all. Let's get things. Let's actually, have a country led by people that actually care about the country and not global interests. But at the end of the day, I've had to reduce it now. It's help people get to tomorrow, right? Like at the base level of my heart, it is that simple. Because you can describe. I've almost left X a few times just because it's so hard to keep describing the train wreck, right? Like it is literally. You're saying, hey. Right. But then you've got all these, they're so good at dividing people that it's very hard to mobilize on anything. And anytime anything new happens, there's always infiltration, all this BS. Right. And so people are on the outside kind of like, is there any adults left in this country that actually care, that are willing to stand on principle? So it's hard. Like, man, so many days. It's like I've mentioned this before. It's kind of like, how many arrows in a day can you catch before you have to take a knee, and take some space? And it's not because, again, like I said the other day, it's like, I don't view myself as having 100,000 followers. I have 100,000 people that are walking with me, right? So for me to leave and throw my hands up in the air, it's like, we are already de-amplified. We're already shadow banned. So a big part of me getting up and continuing to push is that I know, right? I want to be there for people. I want to try and help them get their word out, and they help me get mine out. But it's hard, man. It is very hard. Go ahead.
We got a comment from Alice. She says Amelia is nuts. Is this a BC Conservative Party leadership candidate?
No, that's I believe Alice is referring to Amelia Boltby. She's one of the independent MLAs. She used to be a Conservative Party member.
Are there any of the independents that came from a different party?
No, all from the BC Comms. Weird,
Jesus
eh?
Christ, man. Yeah, that party. It's like Man, what, do they not give a shit about their party? If you look at the NDP, they'll do anything to stay in power, and I mean anything. The conservative parties, they're like, we will stand on principle. We are a liberal light party. If you are not liberal light, you're out of here.
Well, and I think that's kind of where it comes from. I think that with for you to have like a genuine, true populist conservative party, you are not going to have everyone getting along, right? That's the whole point, right? But you can have civil discourse. What a thought, eh? You can have civil discourse on your opinions. Just because you have a difference of opinion, you're out, right? Like, how does that work, right? Well, again, like I'm sure I'm not going to go through the list of all the things someone can say to get kicked out, because that's going to get clipped. But there is a way for people to work together. And I think there's so much conflict. I think the big mistake was rolling all of the former BC Liberals and BC United people into the Conservative Party. I think that's where a lot of the tension in caucus, I think a lot of, even in the leadership race, I think we're seeing the same thing, right? Like, if you want to have a Liberal Party, be Liberals, right? Leave the Conservatives to actually have a party. And the problem is there's only one vehicle right now. We can talk about one BC, but again, I'm not going to do that. When it looks at the BC Conservative Party, they want to describe it as having a big tent, but you can't have Liberals and Conservatives under the same tent. They're fundamentally different when it comes to trying to tell the voters, this is what I stand for. It's like, well, you're kind of conservative here, but you're over here supporting Soji. Like, how does that? It doesn't make sense to me, right? Like, I'm not going to criticize any one individual. I'm just going to say, as far as like a party structure and what you're trying to do moving forward, if you're not conservative, then why are you trying to carry that banner? Right? Is it interference? Is it just uniparty BS? I don't know. Right? We'll find out on May 28th. I think it's May 30th they announce who the actual leader is. But right now you have a bunch of liberals running to be the leader. You do have Carolyn Finley, Warren Ham. At least they I would say are far more conservative than the others, right? But so much of it is a mirage. You know, I wish that we should stand on principle, what you believe in, and be a part of a party that aligns with that. I don't know, man. I could go on for an hour about how ridiculous it is. But again, you know, it is what it is in BC in 2026.
It feels like there are more paid influencers in this leadership race than, I don't know, any of the other ones I've seen, and they're really nasty. Like, they attack every candidate's getting attacked and being called like a fake conservative, which is, I actually believe that, because they're all fake conservatives. But everybody's got like somebody that they support. What do you think's going to happen? Who do you think's going to win?
I don't know, right? Like, I'm looking at it going, okay, if let's just say, hypothetically speaking, the election is free and fair, right? Then you will either see Caroline Elliott, Peter Millibar, or Carolyn Finley. I believe, just my gut. I think if it was honestly free and fair, like if it's hard to say, obviously, because again, Jordan endorsed Carrie Lynn, so I have a conflict of interest here as far as that goes. I met with her. I think she's a good woman. I understand the past with Harper and McKay. Some people will be like, oh, okay, you know, I understand. But at the same time, you know, if it's a liberal, right? Peter Millibar is a liberal. Caroline Elliott, right? Like, again, like they might have some conservative tendencies, right? So I don't want to be completely broad brushing people at all. Like, I want to make sure that's clear. But at the same time, if you want a message to the province, then have it like a true conservative out there leading. It would be great to have Jordan. That'd be so much fun. Let's have fun with that. But again, that's not reality, right? So we have to kind of look at it going, okay, our province is not in a very good place, right? 9 years of the NDP has been brutal, right? So trying to figure out a way of bringing people together, right, and actually believing. Again, it's hard when people have seen with what happened in the last election, like bring on remanded, right? There's a lot of questions that are still to be answered there as far as what went on, right? But right now, I think we're in a situation where we'll know the direction of the province on May 30th. I look forward to it. Bring it, right? If it's Caroline Finley, excellent. If it's a liberal, okay, but at least we'll know. Right. So over the next couple of months, we'll see. And it'll be interesting to see. I think it's on the 8th. So tomorrow, right? Juno News debate. I think all but Millibar and Elliott won't be attending tomorrow. I'm not sure unless there's been an update. But you get to see Warren Ham. You get to see Yuri Fulmer, Carolyn Finley, Ian Black. You know, you'll get to see some people. But again, is it real? Right? I'd love to. I can't. I'm this like eternal optimist, right? But because right now we need hope, and I think that it's just interesting. I'll leave it there, man.
JT says you reap the communism you sow. I think that's a reference to the NDP, Cowichan Valley voting for the NDP. Yeah.
But again, even though Cowichan Valley voted NDP, it's not the province that's doing this locally. But I would assume that there's probably some overlaps there with regards to the influence, and it probably goes into the federal side of things as well too.
Yeah, but it's like you're voting communist provincially, and then you want to be laissez-faire capitalist municipally. You can't.
Fair point.
Sorry, it doesn't work that way.
Fair point. I step back. I cannot engage in any defense of that argument. You're spot
on. Why don't we? Let's stick with BC. I saw some stats about BC, and it's a shame JP's not here. I'd rub it in his face because he thinks that his province is so terrible, but ours is like way worse.
Oh, is that? Are you talking about the Remanded's March update? Let me.
Yes. So like we're in debt. Our credit rating has been lowered. What else? Is it Cowichan? The Musqueam? What are the other train wrecks? Do you remember?
I'm going to pull it up right now. It'll be very easy to find unless
just find it.
Search band. I got it right here. Okay. March update from the Remanded. If you don't follow them, give them a follow. Number 1, BC deficit hits 13.3 billion. Number 2, credit rating downgraded for the second time.
Good. Yeah, everybody wants a bad credit rating. That every communist knows that.
Yep. New tax hikes on families. 4, tax competitiveness drops. Nice. 5, atmospheric river floods. Okay, if this is his list, I got to talk to him about terminology, but deadly northern avalanches, healthcare wait times rise, economic slowdown and tariffs, housing markets cooling, EB approval rating drops.
I'm surprised EB's approval rating didn't go up. I mean, this is BC. This is upside down. It was a bizarre world.
I think the reason, like the primary reason, is Drippa. I honestly think that he has like doing all this stuff behind the scenes and just pretending, the great pretender, right? And then at the same on the same side, the economy, of course, inflation, right? They'll blame him even if it's more federal that's causing the problem. But at the same time, the safe supply, like any community you go into, like, man, the drug use is off the charts. The fentanyl is out of control. The housing encampments are all over the place. Yeah, I was an advocate for a very long time. So the musical chairs thing, you know, they're staying here. Okay, move them, evict them, then they go over here, right? There's like no solutions ever, right? It's like this weird ass industry, right? That keeps all these not-for-profits and moving. It's like, you've had how long to fix this problem? Why are we in a situation where you keep getting government money and there's no results? And then you have the government's like, free fentanyl for everybody. Kidding me? And he got away with it. How many people are dead because of the safe supply? Safe supply. Free hard drugs for people. I don't know, right? Like, I used to agree with Ron Paul on like most things. He's like, oh no, if we just legalize it all, it'll be fine. No, Ron. No, it won't. No, David. It won't.
Just
again,
to come
should be in prison for that.
Come to the defense of Ron Paul. Ron Paul never said we should legalize it and we should pay for it and we should encourage its use.
That's true. No, that's true. Okay. Yeah, I retract my slant on Ron, but yeah, it just doesn't work. And there's no reason that they have ever, they knew this. They knew it. There's no way. You can't have, there was no one in the room that said, hey guys, we shouldn't do this. Crime rates, everything, all these, even today, I walk into the store, you know, he looked like he was 25 years old and he's sitting on a bus stop and he's doing the fentanyl thing, right? The little lean, trying to help.
The Thriller dance.
Right? And again, it's like the lost potential of that. I don't know the guy's story, but no more than 25 years old, right? Like the depraved indifference, the you could argue malicious nature of that program, right? They called it a pilot program. It shouldn't have lasted a month. You start it and you start seeing that, because I didn't, like I said before, I was an advocate for a very long time. I didn't have to deal with fentanyl. Mostly the people that I was helping was cocaine, heroin, crystal meth, right? Like that was it, right? Totally different world. That
The
was
light
it.
stuff.
But again,
Yeah.
well, that's where we're at now, Peyman, right? The light stuff. And you see what fentanyl has done to communities and to people. It is so gross. So I still think, though, the reason Evie's dropping in the polls is DRIPA. Like, he's going to try and band-aid it, but we're not going to an election anytime soon. I would be very surprised if we did. There's no reason for him to. But at the same time, hey, guys, on the NDP side, isn't there anyone that wants power? Can we not get this guy out? Seriously, hold a backdoor caucus meeting somewhere and deal with it, because this province needs something new.
I had a guest on, and he goes like normal psychology, like normal human psychology, you reward good behavior and you punish bad behavior. Mm-hmm. He goes, but by rewarding bad behavior, you almost get psychotic results. Like society becomes psychotic.
Is that Jan-Erik Snyder?
Yeah, it was him, and he was talking about the homeless. Like, everybody assumes people are homeless because of circumstances that are out of their control. I'm sure that happens, but he's saying is, there's a reason that these bad things have happened, and by giving them hotel rooms, you're rewarding bad behavior. And the guy's like, well, I guess I should keep doing whatever I did that made me homeless. You almost could say the same thing about drugs, where we're rewarding them with free drugs. But I think this is even more sinister. It's not that we're rewarding them. We are poisoning them. The government, it's like guinea pigs. They're testing on them, knowing that they're going to take more of your tax dollars and my tax dollars to give their buddies in the pharmaceutical companies to either sell them the drugs or sell them the treatment, or ultimately, harvest their organs when they sell them made.
So dark, man. But it's, again, another example. Right now they have tabled, I think it's in second reading in the BC Ledge, is the Residential Tenancy Act Amendment Act, right? And so they want to change a whole bunch of things. Some of them I agree with, right, as far as like giving more authority to housing management to take care of heavy issues with weapons and other things like that, right? But we're talking about like low-income residential tenancy, right? They don't even have in there a prohibition on allowing people to smoke fentanyl in those buildings. So you've got families upstairs with kids, and people are smoking fentanyl downstairs, right? And I'll give credit to BC Con Claire Ratti, because she's being like, what are you doing? She's the critic for the Conservative Party, right? She's saying, are we actually being serious here? Like, if you're actually serious, no, you should not be allowed to smoke fentanyl in those. You see? Right? It's like, what
can you imagine? Like, there's a sign outside every building in Vancouver, like, no smoking of crack within 12 feet of this building.
No, they'll still have the no smoking of cigarettes within 12 meters, but fentanyl is okay. Are you kidding me? Right? So it's like, are they serious? No. If they're serious, then they're going to do what they can to protect kids as well. Right? Like, again, you want to have how are they even allowed? Because most places you can't smoke inside. You can't even smoke cigarettes anymore because of the secondhand smoke and the damage it does, right?
You know how this this absurd Liberal Party, fat communist hamster Gary, cabinet minister, whatever, comes into Canada and imposes his will to do a gun grab. The Conservatives, if they get into power, they should just be like, all right, you want to be a piece of shit? We can be a piece of shit. Just get the most like white supremacist person that you can find and do like a crack pipe grab, where they go around and they steal people's crack pipes or anything else to piss off the left, like steal their trans flags. Like, this is absurd. You're bringing somebody that wasn't even born here, can't speak English, doesn't understand the gun laws, to rub it in the face of Conservatives to confiscate their private property, which is their guns.
Mm-hmm. Did you mention he's got ties to the Tamil Tigers and stuff? Like some weird stuff in the past too, right?
I can't keep track of who on the left is a terrorist anymore.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's like that sense of mocking. They just want to, what are you going to do about it? Right? That's what it seems to me. Because, I mean, how long has EB been in power? How long is Trudeau and now Carney been in power? Not one person has been held accountable, as far as I understand. Not one. And all the chaos and craziness, the conflicts of interest, the massive, like, I would say, controlled demolition on many aspects, the harm done to the reputations of our institutions, right? Not one person has been arrested. Come on. King Charles, if you're listening, give us a bone.
I wonder if he can execute politicians.
You probably could. As far as again,
maybe.
is I think the punishment for treason is that, isn't it?
Well, we don't have the death penalty in Canada.
I'd say again, I think the death penalty is like going light on people. I think putting them in prison for for the rest of their lives, right, to give them time to think about what they've done.
Or what you could do is
take away their assets.
Bring Trudeau back and what is that medieval era apparatus where the guy sticks his head through the wood and his hands are here and everyone's throwing tomatoes? Except, I don't know, this is Canada. You throw Timbits or something just for the rest of his life.
Yeah, probably. Not the rack. What is it called? Yeah, the rack is where they stretch you.
Is that what it's called? Yeah. What else do we got? Clown World. When we get sent to the gulags for mean words, I wonder how high the fences will be. Gulags is spelled with a U. I hate to be a grammar Nazi, but that was triggering me. That's a funny thing. Yeah. I doubt there's going to be like a regional district association limiting the height of the fences when they throw us in prison.
I'm just going to be the like a part of an acapella group that just wakes up every morning and sings Alice in Chains Rooster. Got to try and have some fun with it. And I'll share my rice with you, Clown World. It's all good.
Sue, my parents. Oh, no, this is Tony. Sorry, knee-jerk reaction. I was blaming my parents. Somebody else is calling me. Sue, thank you for reminding everybody to share the podcast. Unacceptable. Hello. Let's see what Sue has to say. Note, gas prices should be falling. Apparent ceasefire deal 2 weeks, but the Hormuz must open immediately. So I'm assuming you didn't hear about this, right?
About what he said about destroying a civilization today?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that, but he said he was going to destroy civilization, and then through Pakistan, they got a ceasefire, and Trump did a Truth Social post saying he got everything he wants, basically mission accomplished. Thank you, Jesus Christ, if you're listening up there. You gave Trump his off-ramp, so there'll be no nukes flying. So unless he goes back on this and starts bombing Iran again. But when's the
deadline? Isn't the deadline up sometime today?
2 weeks. 2 weeks. No. I don't know what the deadline was for that one, but he got an extension for 2 more weeks.
Okay. So that's all. Again, I look at it. Okay, if civilization ends. What? How did we get here, people?
Yeah, I don't know.
Seeing a lot of people go after Trump too, right? It's like it is so crazy. Like some of those words, like the first line in his sentence, like massive threats. I get it. Like the Strait of Hormuz is a main artery, right? But I prefer diplomacy than destruction of civilizations. That's all I'm going to say. If it's possible.
Yeah, it was touch and go there for a while. I was expecting to look out the window as a massive mushroom cloud. Let's see. Sue Kellen Dyer. Newfoundland and Labrador politics remain controlled by the rural communities. That's interesting. No one's ever said that to me. JP's never brought that up. And I wonder, Sue, if you could share in the comments whether that's a good thing or if it's got its own problems.
It's like, again, I still think you want to have rural and urban have the ability to at least understand the needs of both, right? Because everything's too centralized, right? Like even up north with Jordan, with the Taylor Bridge, it's like the NDP gets in, and in 2017, they're like, yeah, we're canceling that project. It's like politics should not overcome like what is in the best interest of people. It's like mostly just forget. It's like, oh, I win. I only have to look after the NDP. It's like, no, David, there's not. Just look at the map. Look how blue that map is, right? Like if you're elected as an NDP, you're still governing for all. Like that's where you have the lack of empathy, the lack of compassion. It's all just Machiavellian BS about where should the money go so that I get reelected. It's been like this for so long though, but I still think you can have circumstances. I think electoral distribution as far as the emphasis goes could be tweaked a little bit. The system could use some changing as far as that, because how do you have BC that blue and it was like close and the NDP still won, right? How does that even happen, right? I understand population size and stuff like that, but it doesn't make any sense. The first past the post systems, I don't know. That's for another conversation.
Yeah, I think you need something like Alberta independence movement. That to me, Alberta independence is a reaction to the failure of our political system.
Yeah. It's such a circus. There is nothing that I think it's like how far. I think it was like one of those people. It was a guy in Europe. Might have been from the European Union. He wasn't like a politician, but he's kind of saying, never in history, like no, every time in history when there is such a disconnect between the elected officials and those they are meant to govern, he's like, we are at that point. Like they're no longer listening on immigration and on everything that they're doing. They're no longer listening because, I'm going to retire. I'm going to go live in Davos, Switzerland, right? Like it's like they have this sense of arrogance, this sense of smugness.
Let them eat cake.
Right. Was the NDP guy eat the rich? It's like,
yeah, that loser guy. Let them eat the rich. I'm like, it looks like you ate multiple rich people, fat ass.
Can't rule it out. That's the world we're in.
We got some funny comments, JT. You're competing for the worst provinces in Canada. And he says, insert Seinfeld music. What's the deal with the coasts? Like BC and I guess Nova Scotia. Manitoba and BC toss up the worst premier. That's a good question. What do you think?
Sorry about that. I'm biased, right? Like again, David Eby is the worst thing that I've ever had to live through, and I'm old, so I've never seen anything like this. But again, the bias is like, okay, well, was he in charge when the COVID event happened? No, it was John Horgan, but he took over, and Bonnie Henry is still. What are we doing, right? And again, it's just like, name one thing, and I've yet to have anybody, and call me on it. Name one thing that David Eby has done that has improved the lives of the people of this province, outside of his friends, right? And maybe some Chinese elites. I'm not sure, but who, like what? How did we get here, right? Everything he's touched, everything this NDP government has touched, right? The SOGI, the list is so long. None of it makes sense to me, Peyman, so I can't even comment on Manitoba. I am completely unqualified to respond to this because I live in BC.
The other provinces, they have like pockets of scandals. So you have Scott Moe, the discount bond villain in Saskatchewan, who sort of vilified the unvaccinated. You have, I think it's Wab Canoe, the guy who's perpetually high.
He's Manitoba.
Yeah, and I don't know
fair.
If he's high, but I don't know if he's done anything bad for the province. And then you got Doug Ford. He's just a fat piece of shit, old school Italian guy, and he sold some land to his buddies and he took it off the Greenbelt. Is it Tim Houston in Nova Scotia?
Yeah,
like he's that guy's compromised. I think they've kidnapped his wife and children, and he gets his instructions from magazine cutouts. But in BC, it's next level here. like we're a stone's throw away from them experimenting on us. Like this place is going to hell.
It is. That's why it's like light them up, we're going down, right? But at the same time, it's like there are so many good people, right, in this province. There are so many people that are, again, like if you go outside of the city centers, even when I'm in Victoria, there isn't a ton of in comparison to Vancouver, where there's the trans flags everywhere, and there's like all of it. You know what I mean? Even in Victoria, it doesn't seem to be like that. Yes, I'm not saying that Victoria is not woke. I'll probably get clipped on that, but at the same time, it's one of those things. There's a lot of good people. I've met more people in this province that, I mean, yes, they're probably all conservative, not all conservatives, but conservatives, independents, apathetic, non-voters, right? They see what's going on. They don't like it. And I would imagine a lot of the NDP, right? Unless you're like in that, like the tight cult, right? With the hair colors and the, whatever you're doing as far as if you support SOGI, if you support DEI, right? That group is not as big as most people think. That's just my opinion. I think they're given the microphone. I think they're given protection by institutions, but I don't think by a large margin. It's like COVID. Oh, we're just a fringe minority. Are we? Until the convoy shows up, right? We were never a fringe minority. And the reason I think they put the EA in is because I was even going to go, right? Like my account got shut down on the 12th.
They're like, holy shit, Kris Erikson's coming, get the EA.
Well, no, but no, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is there was a ton, it was building. Momentum was building. Take my name out of it. I'm just saying, like, again, like I had responsibilities here, but I'm thinking, hey, if this is actually happening, what better way to stand up? And I saw the bouncy castles, I saw the dancing, the hockey, and I'm just like, all right, they're doing it the way it needs to be done. And that's why I think the Emergencies Act came down, was because more and more people were coming. Right. And you had Mendocino was like, oh, we just need one tank. Do you see, how are these people not in prison? Chrystia Freeland freezes the bank accounts of people on the basis of the Emergencies Act being used, which has now been ruled unconstitutional. Also an appeal, right? You froze the bank accounts of Canadians, and you're now what? She just got a Rhodes Scholar, right? She's appointed to Ukraine to, is it money laundering? I don't know. But these people are never held accountable.
Well, they fail upwards. I mean, if you want someone who's not held accountable, look no further than David Lametti. He wrote all of the rules for what happened during COVID. Like I'm guessing he was instrumental in the interim order where they basically said this is a temporary measure to fast track the COVID vaccine without testing it. And then they just embedded that fast tracking into the law. They're like, nothing to see here. It's safe now, ladies and gentlemen.
And then what is it? Current events? Like, was it yesterday? They now removed all the vaccine harm injury data and the payouts and stuff. And then the MAID, I saw a thing day before about MAID, like I think it's the Ontario. Okay, don't quote me on this one. I believe that it's the Ontario College of Physicians that just said that if someone dies, it goes through MAID. It's the condition that they did it for is what they put on the death certificate. So there's no even of a record on the person that they used assisted suicide.
Yeah, but this is like me beating a cancer patient to death, and cause of death is cancer. This is so disingenuous.
Exactly. You can say MAID reason on the death certificate, right? It's so simple, but the fact that they won't allow that, again, they're worried about historically speaking.
They're worried about the statistics, because too many times on my podcast, presumably the government of Canada is watching my podcast, and I said the number 2 cause of death in Quebec is MAID.
And over 100,000 people in a year. It's like that's the big arrows that hit me, that I'm just like, where did the humanity go? Right. And no one calls them out on it. Like the Conservative Party, I think. I don't know if Polyev is getting behind. I've stopped paying attention to federal because I can only deal with so much bullshit. I got the BC stuff I'm going to work on. I got the stuff locally, like with the CBRD and stuff that I wanted to bring today. There's so much going on that it is impossible to keep up. And every one of them, no matter which direction you look, if you have a heart, if you care, you want to see things, even for the people you don't like, I still want to make sure they have like the opportunity to have a good quality of life. But we're left here standing, just makes you want to drink whiskey and listen to music.
Good times.
Right?
It's one safe supply I would support, free whiskey.
It might be coming, who knows?
Speaking of safe supplies, yes, Kellen Dyer, safe supply of deadly drugs. What could go wrong? It's amazing what these people. What does JP always say? The people are tragically susceptible. Like safe supply of deadly drugs, and they sold it to the people.
Yeah, I think he says tragically susceptible to wartime propaganda, but that would apply because this would kind of seem like it's kind of a war on the people when you're giving away those hard drugs. And here's a space for you to do it. Here's your Narcan, right? It's crazy.
No. What else do we got? JT is pointing out what I pointed out. Ron Paul didn't say and let the state inject you with it. He's talking about the safe supply. Yeah, we don't want. I'm not giving you a hard time, Chris, but yeah, it's.
No, he said decriminalize it, and they're and he believed that people would make the right choices. So I made the leap in comparison to safe supply, which isn't the government paying for it and giving the means, right?
I honestly, I actually agree with you and not Ron Paul on this one. The people cannot be trusted in this point in history. You can't trust the people. Like we decriminalized hard drugs and it seeped into the public education system with the kids. Because if it's not criminal, you're almost encouraging it. Like if you decriminalize things, you're encouraging it.
Yeah. Yeah. And at the same time, inadequate addiction services, it's an industry. That would be my, if people after 10 years walking under bridges and down dark alleys trying to get people in, how many people I got into rehab, they get out, there's no system there for them. I even tried over a couple of years to try and get partnerships going. So let's say if you're in Abbotsford, you go into a treatment center, you get out, you partner with another community that's so far away that they can't go back into the same community to get the access, right? The same dealers, the same people they hung out with before, right? But there's simple solutions, not solutions, right? There are simple ways of improving the results of our systems, right? But if you do that, then you're going to need less addictions counselors. You're going to need less. It's like they're like one of the meetings I was in. I used to get invited because I was an independent advocate, right? So I wasn't being paid by any. You'd have like Fraser Health, you'd have all the service providers in the communities come in, and I get a phone call or something. It's like, can you come in? Because I can't say this. Would you be willing to come in and say certain things because they're fearful of losing their jobs, right? And so I can remember standing up and looking around and go, okay, I just want to point something out. If you actually were trying to fix the problem, you guys would all be out of a job, right? There's a huge conflict of interest. It makes no sense. That's why. I started doing that work in when I was 25.
You just defined government in a nutshell. Conflict of interest. Like the government is introducing these building code regulations, knowing plain well it's going to generate jobs, which means that they have guaranteed voters. Same thing with immigration.
Exactly. Yeah, and I'm not saying again, it's like if you wanted to actually solve the problem and have a wraparound system. So let's just say, in a communist system, which some would argue that we're in, right? So if you have full control by the state, you have full control of these systems. They're all funded by the government. They're all, some of the not-for-profits, yeah, they do fundraising and stuff like that. But overall, you have a system that is designed to be wraparound. Don't get better. Like how, if you're again, if I was in government, I would say, okay, right now we're switching to a paid for performance. You're not just going to keep getting money if you are not actually helping people, right? So if you don't, then otherwise people will step up, and over time, you're only paying the people that are actually producing results, and none of these nepotistic conflict of interest, little tossing of money to these people because I know the guy on this. It is such a grift on so many levels. Not insulting the entire social work industry, the entire. I'm not insulting them all, but at the top, it doesn't make any sense. And part of the reason, again, I have my social services diploma. So again, I was in the system for a very long time, and it was just so gross because the people on the ground, they have value, right? They're looking for help. And one of the problems I had, I'm not even sure if it's the same problem, but I was a crisis line volunteer, right? So I would get people calling saying, I need to get into treatment. You know what the policy was when I was there? How long have you been clean? Right? And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, in order to gain access to treatment, you need to be clean for 5 days. What are we doing? And these people, some of them are saying, I'm willing to sign myself over, right? Give me a paper to sign. Like I need, he's got a family, he's got a couple kids, he's hooked on heroin, he wants the help, but he's got to be off heroin on his own for 5 days before he could access the system. If that has changed, again, I'm not sure, but that was in 2006, 2007, right? It's like the system is not there to help people. The system's there to perpetuate the system. And that would just be my, I guess you'd call it an expert opinion. I was in the game for a long time, but I don't see any difference now. It's just ridiculous. So go ahead. I took the bit of the mic there for a while.
Now let's see what else we got. Majestic 12. That's a reference. I don't know if that's a reference to Deus Ex, or if it's some sort of conspiracy thing. MJ12. More and more, we see town city councils doing meetings with no announced council meetings. By the way, the Housing Infrastructure Fund that didn't buy a single house was used to create town city bureaucracy. Why don't you take this one?
I didn't know that about the last one, but they also do them. They don't actually do, like, a lot of them don't even do them public, right? They're Zoom in meetings, right? So if they're, especially, I think there was in Abbotsford, right? There was a protest starting about Soji, right? And so like, oh, we're canceling the in-person meetings. We're going to do it by Zoom, and they're hand picking. Why? Because when the public becomes aware of the BS that's going on, they mobilize, right? So much of it is done in a way that is designed to keep the public out. They think you're better than you. Most of the time, they just think they're better than you. The smug, arrogant nature of a lot of these people. But I've also, again, not a qualifying statement, I have known many city councilors and mayors in my day that wouldn't fall to that. But that's 2026, so that's like over a decade ago. I didn't have too much interaction between 2015 and 2019 when I left the game, but I met a lot of them between 2005 and 2015 they're good people, but so much changed in 2015, right?
My good friend Andre Milosh, he references the similar behavior happening over in Quebec, where if they don't like what the citizens are saying, they cut their mic. They've passed a law in Quebec where they say if you harass a municipal official, that's criminal. You can be, or I don't know the exact law, but you can be arrested. Nobody asked the question like, well, why are they harassing you? Are they harassing you because, well, first of all, it could be safe supply. Maybe they're from BC, but more likely they're harassing you because you're overstepping your authority.
Mm-hmm. True, right? Or it could be, why are we dealing with a situation where my child came home and it was Jenny and now is Jim, right? Like, why are this? Again, it's like, even to say that this is reality. Like, how did we get here? None of this makes any sense to me. I've said it so many times. Have you seen my planet? It was not funny because, again, COVID was another traumatic event for a lot of people. But for the longest time, I didn't know. Should I ask a stranger? Is this still Earth? When they did all the inversion of everything at once, it was just crazy. And still today, so much of what's going on.
The trope from like the 40s, 50s, 60s, the young girl, she falls for the bad boy from the neighborhood, and the mom and dad are like, you're not going to be, like, stay away from my daughter. Whereas now it's like the young girl wants to cut off her breasts. The parents have to say it to the government, stay away from my daughter. Things have gotten out of control. The government shows up with like law enforcement just armed to the teeth.
Yeah. And that's the thing about it, is they've normalized it, right? And it comes back to it as well too. I think that because there was so much trauma inflicted that has not been dealt with from the COVID event era, right? And again, we all handled it differently, but the young people of that generation, right? So they're massively traumatized. Now they're being told that they're, at the same time, they're also being told that, oh, if you want to be a girl, you can be a girl. If you want to be a boy, you can be a boy, right? Like it, I'm not saying that it was connected, but I think the timing of it is very suspect, because out of trauma, unchecked trauma, right? So all these kids have got PTSD. They have been ostracized in social circles if they didn't take the vaccine, or the medical treatment. What do you want to call it? The experiment? All of this stuff is happening, right? And no one stood up for these kids, right? They should have had a post-traumatic stress Like, and even through that too, you couldn't even call. I would imagine, you know, it'd be very difficult for any kid to have like confidence that if you call the crisis line, that you're going to be able to get someone on the phone that's going to have empathy for you. I lost all my friends because I don't want to participate in this experiment. Like all the coercion and the mind bending crap that went on. You know, I feel so bad for that generation, and you know, I don't know if I'm going to land it here because we could spend a whole episode on that, man. But you know, that's what breaks my heart is seeing so many young people just be used as a pawn in a game without any true scientific basis for it. Can't say that after Bill C-9 passes, so I'm going to say it now because it's apparently not going to be retroactive. But screw you guys for what you did to kids.
Yeah. No, I won't lose any sleep if Justin Trudeau and Katy Perry get like their ass kicked while they're on their pleasure trip in Europe or something. A couple of gypsies like bomb rush them.
No comment.
I'll leave it
Trudeau
there.
does belong in prison, though. That's for sure.
JT, you get the NDP convention by rewarding bad behavior. What the hell happened in that convention?
That was not even by rewarding bad behavior. It's by rewarding mental illness. Like, honestly, I don't know. Am I wrong? Like, seriously. Yeah. I'm just gonna land it there.
Remember when we were in high school, you know, you were grade like 3, 4, you would go out and you'd run and you'd have like the most improved, most energetic, most mentally retarded, most mentally challenged batch. It's a tight race. There's a lot of competition nowadays.
And when I was younger, I got bullied and I learned how to fight. And then I would protect because they had I think it was called was it special ed? Yeah, I think the department, like they had a whole area, right, where their needs could be better met. So there was a whole bunch of different kinds of things, right? So there was a bunch of kids that would always pick on these kids, and I would get into fights. I'd get suspended. It's just like, it's not like, I'm not saying put all of them into a room and give them special education, but when you see that convention, it's like, even when you saw the American accounts going, this is Canada. Like, are you kidding me? That's why I was so happy for it, because it's like, I don't want anything bad to happen to these people. That's just not my style, right? But again, we have to stop rewarding this and stop pretending that this is normal, because it gets to the point, like, I don't care what you do, right? As long as you're not harming people, right? I don't care what you do in your bedroom if you're an adult, right? That's okay. I don't care. It's none of my business. That's my stance, right? But when you're that, I still, like, I watched that convention and I'm like, even to this day, how does this happen in a society? Like, it is like you can make a movie about that, just like, you know, not quite equilibrium, but as far as like, what did you do to these people that made them like that? You know, and again, I don't want to be, you know, saying you have to be deprogrammed, but I said it's a very, it's a symptom of a much larger problem of untreated mental illness in Canada, right? Not all of them, again, but some of the people that were on display. Okay, sir, madam.
Really? That woman was insane. And just like the point of privilege, I'm like, do you mean point of order? I'm like, no, point of privilege. I have a privilege card.
I have
they had privilege cards. Like, somebody sat around and they're like, you know what would be a really good idea if we actually came up with a privilege card and everybody else voted unanimously? Like, that's a great idea. This is going to be the best convention. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like, I feel bad for a lot of them. And again, I never grew up, I don't care, religion, politics, whatever you are, right? As long as you're not hurting people. But we're at the point in time where the ideology is harming people, a lot of people, right? And so we need to be adults and step back and review, reanalyze. And again, it's one of those things where, how did we get here? I stopped when I got my diploma in 2010. I was offered a scholarship to continue to get my degree. And I asked them, how many mandated courses require me to recognize 32 genders? Because it was just starting for me there. And I'm like, the last semester of my diploma, I'm sitting in there, it was like diversity, education, and inclusion or something like that. I had no idea what it was, right? I'm You know, I'll save that for the end because it seems pretty easy. I'm inclusive. I like diversity, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm like, there's something wrong here. And I was a mature student, right? And so all these kids are just like looking at me when I'm asking questions. I'm like, 32? And I didn't know either LGBTQ plus ... I didn't understand the alphabet, right? I grew up with LGBT, right? Like that was my generation grew up, and it's like, yeah, whatever. We had people around that were like that. Yeah, they got picked on, but at the same time, our generation dealt with that. The people doing that kind of stuff to the gay community, we just dealt with it, right? Because you know, we got so far on the other end of the spectrum now, where we're looking at this and going, so I just said I couldn't do it. That's when I grabbed my backpack, filled my backpack full of charter rights and freedoms, welfare rights, diapers, baby formula. And I'm just going to rock this on my own because no one's going to hire me because of the questions I asked in class. That's when I started realizing like Advocates for Community Services, they all have like these mandated programs. So again, this is the result of that. No different than land acknowledgements. They started when in 2008, and now it's like, oh, you didn't think saying that might be a problem?
Yeah. What could possibly go wrong? Yeah.
Definitely not.
It's
insane, buddy.
Peyman laughing with every dark fact he brings up. It's my coping mechanism. I mean, this country
darkness is.
Well, yeah, darkness. The country is going down the toilet. We are becoming Nazi. I am saying it here. Bill C-9 has not passed. We are becoming Nazi. We are importing slave labor. We're cheap labor force. We're printing money like there's no tomorrow. And I don't know. And I go tell people, they're like, "Oh, you're crazy." I'm like, "All right, I guess humor is my only relief."
If you can't, there's different kinds of laughing, right? There's like the crazy laughing, where it's just like you're, you know, like that kind of side. And
I'm
then
almost there.
You don't go there though. You can't. Always pull back and take a break, and you know, don't go there because that's unhealthy. But there's also the healthy, of course. Of course, that's what they're going to do because you get so conditioned now of like when COVID event happened. I'm like, they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. Then you get to that point eventually where it's like, of course they're going to do that. So there's like this dark humor to it that you got to be careful with. But if you're not laughing, you know, at least in some aspects towards the how, you know, day in, day out, along with breathing. Thank you, Deborah. It's healthy to be able to get to the point. It keeps you sane when you're like, I can laugh at some pretty horrible shit. And, you know, as long as you check yourself and realize, wait, I probably shouldn't be laughing. But if you're already at the point where you might just be laughing hysterically because it's all so insane, then just keep an eye on that, buddy.
Yeah. I guess I get the message. Clown World's saying I was gonna go into some really dark corridors, but I'll pull it back. Clown World. The poo minister. I'm assuming that's Gary the communist hamster. Maybe we need the poo, or
probably
like a piece of poo. We are running out of time. In Ontario.
Oh
shit!
City Council. That was quick.
Yeah, there's a lot of comments. I don't think we'll get to all of them. Is there anyone that we haven't given the spotlight to? I'm remanded. I did a top 10 developments for March of 2026 in BC. We're doing great. We read them out, buddy.
We read them out, man, and encourage people to follow you. So it's good.
Edmund Heidel, they admitted to implementing wartime propaganda to us Canadians during COVID. Yeah, they said that, and it's just nobody's listening, right?
Mm-hmm. There was even something that came out today and about them gathering intelligence illegally as well. So you put that on top of the wartime propaganda. Yeah, they used Afghanistan propaganda techniques, and they were found to have done that.
The Stoic must not become the Joker.
Yeah. The Stoic must not become the Joker. Why so serious?
Yeah, I was thinking more the Jack Nicholson one. I was going to go find a vat of acid and dive into it. I guess we can end it there.
You needed
Kris,
payment. You can't do
that. Yeah. Kris, you wanted to make an announcement, so I'm going to give you the floor.
Not really an announcement. I think it's one of those things where even before the show tonight, you know, it's like, how you doing? It's like, you want to talk about grief for an hour and a half? Right. So I went to the lake today to try and do a video, and it's just like, So I'm just going to take this time. It's not an announcement. I just want to thank everyone that has shown me support over the past week since the passing of my father, and even leading up to it. You know, it's one of those things that you can't know how to prepare for it. And I think that it's going to take time, but I really do appreciate the support you guys are giving me, you know, with my posts and DMing and phone calls. And I'm gonna admit it's not easy at all. It's like you're walking down every now and again. I can be doing good, and then I feel like I'm thrown into like if you've seen the music video for Aha, where he's bouncing off of the hallways, you know, trying to get to the end of the hallway so he can actually start seeing things in color again. And I you know, no matter what you do, you can't prepare for it. And I've been in so many wars, right? I pride myself on, you know, I stand my ground or I push forward. I never run. And having like the emotional regulation to be able to navigate things. And this one's different. And I've made some mistakes. I've hurt a couple people that I feel, you know, when you're in a moment and you just want to be, you know. So again, it's like one of those things. I'm learning, I'm getting down the hallway, and but a big part of that's been helpful for me is being able to still show up and you know, and not fight through it. Most of it, like in the past, I would just become a machine. I'd shut my emotions off and get the job done. But again, like I didn't have friends and people, so being cold and being just like that, but trying to do it so that I can still not lose myself. And I've lost myself a couple times in this, but I'm learning, and so I'm grateful for everybody that for your patience, for your support, and the love. And so, thank you from the bottom of my heart. That's all.
Well, condolences, Kris, and nevertheless, thank you for being here today, and I'm sure the audience appreciates it as well.
Anytime I can be, man. I love it. I miss it. When I can't be here, I miss it. It's one of the things keeping me sane.
Some words of encouragement from JT. Keep dancing, Kris.
Always. Appreciate it, JT.
All right. A big thank you, condolences. Thank you to the audience for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Take care, everyone.